Let's now shift focus to the United States. The Pentagon has launched a $1 billion program for Kamikaze drones. The program, slated for the next 2 years, involves buying hundreds of thousands of one-way attack drones. That's Kamikaze drones, dubbed the Drone Dominance Program, DDP. It is basically an implementation of Pete Hegseth's July memo, authorizing major changes to how the department procures and uses these weapons. Now, despite the lessons learned from Ukraine and many other battlegrounds as such, the U.S. military has continued to move extremely slowly to field lower-end drones on a widespread basis as such. The latest Pentagon move will change that, albeit with relatively conservative goals as compared to the millions of drones used by Ukraine and Russia. According to its website, the Department of War expects to order 30,000 drones, with deliveries to be fulfilled by July 2026. And by 2027, Drone Dominance intends to purchase over 200,000 drones that can produce lethal effects in the toughest battlefield environments, quote unquote. Now, this plan calls for a total of more than 300,000 drones to be bought by early 2028. As per the U.S. War Department, the drone program is designed to help the American war industry organize around the need for low-cost supply chain, secure manufacturing on an urgent basis. And the program will move through 4 phases. Basically, each phase will begin with a challenge during which selected drones are flown by military operators and tested in controlled missions. The vendors that perform well will be eligible for orders of 1,000 or more drones. The first competition under the new DDP program is scheduled to begin in fact, to be precise, the 16th of February 2026. Among 25 invited vendors, where will the money come from, really? The U.S. War Department saying that the funding provided by what the Trump administration calls the big, beautiful bill is ready to be used to build that kind of combat power.
Drone Dominance is a $1 billion program funded by President Trump's big, beautiful bill. It is purpose-built on the pillars of the War Department's new acquisition philosophy, a stable demand signal to expand the U.S. drone industrial base by leveraging private capital paired with flexible contracting built for commercial companies founded by our best engineers and entrepreneurs. Drone Dominance will do 2 things: drive costs down and capabilities up. We will deliver tens of thousands of small drones to our force in 2026 and hundreds of thousands of them by 2027.
The program is arriving at a time when disposable attack drones are reshaping conflicts around the world. We've been telling you about this. Since 2022, both sides in the war in Ukraine have deployed vast numbers of small drones for strikes, reconnaissance, battlefield disruption. In West Asia as well, we have seen armed groups using small unmanned systems to threaten shipping routes in the Red Sea. And despite this, the U.S. military continues to encounter obstacles as it seeks to deploy affordable drones at scale. Much of the uncertainty focuses on whether the commercial sector can surge production fast enough to meet the Pentagon targets. With this new drone program, the Pentagon hopes that fast pay-on-delivery contracts with a competitive and merit-based process will give innovators the opportunities to scale production and also meet American military's demands. From the ruins of Chernobyl, a life form has emerged that defies science in a way. A fungus that eats radiation and may shield astronauts from cosmic death. Our next story uncovering for you the unlikely survivor that could transform nuclear safety and space travel as well.
Chernobyl, the world's most infamous nuclear graveyard. A place where reactors exploded, cities emptied, and radioactive winds scarred an entire generation. In 1986, a steam explosion blew of the reactor lid, causing another explosion, which released large amount of radioactive material in the atmosphere. Chernobyl remains one of Earth's most dangerous zones. Yet inside these toxic ruins, something astonishing thrives, a mysterious black fungus that feeds on radiation like food. Scientists first spotted it creeping up the walls of the destroyed reactor, moving towards the most radioactive spots. Instead of dying, it grew stronger. Instead of fleeing radiation, it embraced it. This fungus, rich in melanin, the same pigment that protects human skin from ultraviolet rays, appears to convert deadly gamma radiation into chemical energy. In simple terms, it eats radiation and grows. Researchers now believe that it could be the ultimate nuclear shield. Lab tests show the fungus absorbs radiation at levels that would kill humans instantly. Now, researchers say that a thin layer of this fungus could reduce radiation exposure like a natural self-repairing armor. Space agencies are working on deep space missions that require efficient radiation protection. The present-day shields are heavy and costly. A living, self-repairing fungal layer could change the game. Researchers continue unraveling how this humble organism turns lethal energy into life-sustaining power, a twist of nature born from disaster. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
More than a decade after its mysterious disappearance, the search for the missing Malaysia Airlines aircraft MH370 set to resume at the end of December. On March 8, 2014, the Boeing 777 carrying 239 people vanished from radar screens while on its way from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing in one of aviation's greatest mysteries. 2/3 of the passengers were Chinese, while the others included Malaysians, Indonesians, Australians, as well as Indian American, Dutch and French nationals. Despite the largest search in aviation history, the plane has not been found, and search operations were called off in April because of the changing weather, with the Malaysian government at the time saying that the work would resume later in the day. Malaysia's transport minister, in fact, told news agency AFP that the decision to continue the search efforts now is based on the season, which is favorable for the search to resume. China has welcomed the announcement. Family of the passengers still seeking answers for what happened that fateful day, also welcoming the search effort resumption. Maritime exploration firm Ocean Infinity will be conducting that search in a targeted area assessed to have the highest probability of locating the aircraft. The search is conducted on the no find, no fee principle, with the government only paying if the firm finds the aircraft. Ocean Infinity, based in Britain and the US, led an unsuccessful hunt in the year 2018 before agreeing to launch a new search this year. An initial Australia-led search covered 120,000 square kilometers in the Indian Ocean over 3 years, but found hardly any trace of the plane other than a few pieces of debris. The Malaysian government has said the latest development underscoring its commitment in providing closure to the families affected by the tragedy. Relatives of the victims, in fact, had voiced hope in February that a new search could finally bring some answers. Remember, the plane's disappearance has long been the subject of theories ranging from the credible to outlandish as well, including that the veteran pilot allegedly had gone rogue. A final report into the tragedy released in 2018 pointed to failings by air traffic control and said the course of the plane was changed manually. Investigators said in that 495-page report that they still did not know why the plane vanished and refused to rule out that someone other than the pilots had diverted the jet. Relatives of passengers lost on the flight have continued to demand answers from the Malaysian authorities. Family members of the Chinese passengers gathered in Beijing outside the government offices and the Malaysian embassy in March on the 11th anniversary of the flight's disappearance. Attendees of the gathering shouted, "Give us back our loved ones," with some holding placards asking, When will the 11 years of waiting and torment end? With the search resuming, families are hoping that after more than a decade of uncertainty, this time there will be answers that they have been waiting for.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Let's now shift our focus to the West Bank, where the Israeli Prime Minister, in fact, is reportedly backing the authorization of illegal farming outposts, long linked to settler violence, even as international criticism against those attacks continues to intensify. A report from Israeli outlet revealing that Netanyahu supported legalizing these outposts during a high-level meeting last month. That discussion, which included Defense Minister and the IDF Central Command Chief reportedly, took place amid a sharp surge in attacks reportedly by radical hilltop youth settlers, allegedly, on nearby Palestinian communities. The document quoted claiming that Netanyahu called these farming outposts a necessary and positive response to safeguard Area C, the portion of the West Bank under full Israeli control, reportedly. It further frames the outposts as a counter-effort to what Israel characterizes as Palestinian expansion in the region. Palestinians, however, stressing that Israel issues building permits almost exclusively to Jewish settlers, leaving Palestinian villages unable to legally expand. Human rights groups saying settlers have used these farms as tools to seize additional land while violently intimidating Palestinians, allegedly. Hundreds of Bedouin families have reportedly abandoned their homes due to repeated attacks. The developments coming at a time when the U.S. appears to be growing frustrated with Netanyahu, even as Israel intensifies its operations in the West Bank, where the deaths of 2 Palestinians by Israeli soldiers allegedly drew international condemnation. U.S. President Donald Trump just recently warned Israel not to endanger the stability of Syria under the president, Ahmad al-Shara, just days after an Israeli operation killed at least 13 people in Syria. Despite the mounting pressure, the outlet stating that Netanyahu is pushing ahead with efforts to formally legalize the outposts. Although previous Israeli governments provided security and financial support for these sites, their construction occurred without the permits required under Israeli law. The report further noting that Israeli Finance Minister and Settlement and National Projects Minister, both known to be far-right figures, have funneled tens of millions of shekels into these farms for security systems and mobile housing, allegedly. Israeli media claiming that roughly 1,000 hilltop youth active across the territory, with around 300 labeled violent and a core group of 70 considered the most extreme, allegedly. And the document reportedly saying Netanyahu wants to counter settler violence primarily through education, stating that Israel should focus on removing Jewish youth from the cycle of violent activity in the West Bank.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.